Welcome to Data Month. The history of Lore. Lore was a Soong-type android constructed by Dr. Noonian Soong and Juliana Soong at the Omicron Theta colony. Built in Dr. Soong's own image, Lore was the fourth android they constructed and embodied the first successful attempt at a fully functioning positronic brain. An earlier model of the Soong-type android, B4, also had a positronic brain, but of a less sophisticated type. Lore was extremely advanced and sentient, possessing mega strength, speed, and intelligence when compared to a human. Lore's emotional programming was also very advanced. However, he began displaying signs of emotional instability and malevolence, leading Lore to see himself as superior to humans. Lore frightened the other colonists, who demanded that Soong deactivate him. Lore later claimed that he saw himself as too perfect, and they were envious. Eventually, Soong capitulated, but not before Lore had secretly contacted the crystalline entity, in a bid for revenge, offering it the planet's life to ensure his own survival. After deactivating and dismantling Lore, Soong set about constructing Lore's brother Data, an android without destabilizing emotions. Lore's positronic net differed from Data's. It had a Type L phase discriminator compared to Data's Type R. Soong placed Lore's components into storage, intending to eventually correct Lore's behavioral problems. Lore later harbored resentment towards his creator for abandoning him. Yet, when he met his father again on Turlina 3 and learned that Soong was dying, he was secretly upset, and for a brief moment he displayed a genuine concern for his father. Nevertheless, Lore's malevolent streak soon prevailed. Following Lore's communiques, the crystalline entity attacked Omicron Theta in 2338 and destroyed all life on the planet. Both Lore and Data were left behind, but Data was subsequently discovered by the crew of the USS Tripoli. Lore remained in Soong's laboratory until 2364, when the USS Enterprise D arrived at the planet. The ship's chief engineer, Lieutenant Commander Argyle, and Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Beverly Crusher, were successful in reactivating the android. Although initially presenting himself as willing to please and serve humans, sharing some information about his childhood in the colony with his brother, Lore swiftly returned to his previous ways. Deactivating Data, Lore stole his uniform and masqueraded as him. Lore summoned the crystalline entity once again, intending to feed the crew of the USS Enterprise to it. His treachery was discovered, and due to the differences between him and Data, such as the use of Lore's contractions, he was transported into open space. Lore drifted in space for nearly 2 years until rescued by a passing Packlet trade ship. Lore subsequently responded to the homing signal intended by Soong to draw Data to Soong's new laboratory on Juliana 3. After Soong reactivated Lore, Lore expressed frustration at his father's dismissal of him in favor of working on Data, but was apparently as close to upset as he could come when he learned that Soong was dying, protesting that his father seemed fine despite his obvious age. However, his grief for his father was overshadowed by his anger when he learned that Soong had summoned Data to him with the intention of giving Data an emotion chip that would allow him to feel human emotions, as Data's emotionless childhood have given him a greater understanding of right and wrong. Lore became sore and resented that his father's favoritism of Data, despite Soong's protest that he had never designed a chip for Lore simply because he assumed that Lore had remained deactivated. Despite Soong's attempt to placate Lore, Lore nevertheless tricked Soong by posing as his brother and stealing the chip for himself. The chips caused Lore to become even more unstable, and he killed Soong before departing the planet once again. In 2369, Lore discovered a group of Borg that had been disconnected from the collective. After integrating Hugh's sense of individuality into the hive, Lore styled himself as their leader and gave the Borg individual names, coercing them to becoming his fanatical followers. He began cruel experiments on them, attempting to replace their organic brains with positronic components. Meanwhile, he somehow influenced their behavior, making their attacks more violent. They ceased to assimilate individuals instead of murdering them. Lore directed his Borg followers to launch attacks on targets in Federation space in order to lure the Enterprise D and thus Data, in an elaborate attempt to use the emotion chip to manipulate Data to his side. Lore had modified the chip so that it could remotely instill anger and hatred in Data. Confused with his new emotions, and with his ethical subroutines deactivated, Data betrayed the crew of the Enterprise D and joined Lore at his base. While in captivity, Geordi LaForge was able to instruct Captain Jean-Luc Picard as to modifying a Borg interlink transceiver in order to reset Data's ethical programs, restoring his sense of right and wrong. Data would still experience negative emotions, however. He could at least choose whether or not to act upon them. Upon realizing Lore's evil nature, Data fired upon and deactivated Lore, whose last words were, "I love you, brother." Lore was subsequently dismantled, and the emotion chip, though damaged, was removed and returned to its rightful owner. Background information. Lore was played by Brent Spiner in all of his 4 appearances, but only received credit for his 2nd appearance. Lore was originally planned to be a female android to provide a love interest for Data. Gross. Her job would have been to go out and repair dangerous situations. It was Brent Spiner who suggested the old evil twin concept to be used instead. The female android concept was later used in the 3rd season episode The Offspring, although this interpretation had the new android as Data's child rather than a potential love interest. Thank you for watching the History of Lore. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you can. If you already have, thank you, and have a nice day. Bye-bye!